Benevolence, dear mortals. You can call me Whimsical William. Welcome to my channel. Right now, in this moment, after you watch this video, you should consider writing a book. You should consider creating a world, creating a novel, making up some characters, making those characters go through some difficulties, making them connect with each other. You should do it. If you're not a writer, fine. If you ever thought about writing, or if you ever wrote as a kid, or if you're an advent book collector or a manga collector or a graphic novel comic book collector, make your own characters, make your own story, make your own world. I think that right now is the best time for it because we have so much technology at our fingertips. We have so much information available to us for free and instantly. I've watched so many incredible videos on writing, from advice like show, don't tell. In reality, I've learned that writing is a mixture of showing and telling, depending on what the scene calls for and exactly what you're writing about and how you're writing it and your style. But you don't want to do all or nothing. You don't want to only show and you don't only want to tell. You want to have a nice mixture that works for you and that works for the genre that you're writing. I danced around the topic of writing and about myself creating a story in a few videos while talking about manga. And I was just thinking to myself, I think that people need to hear this. I think that people need to just start. There's a lot of people out there that have amazing ideas, but they feel like, oh, this will never get published, or I can't be a millionaire from this. I can't finish a story. And I'm here to tell you that you can. I've been writing since I was like in elementary school, and I'm much older than that now. I've never finished a story. I always throw them away, whether it's a short story, novel format, graphic novel, whatever I'm trying to do, I never finish it when it comes to writing. I thought of myself as a Stephen King kind of writer, a discovery writer, someone who just makes it up as they go. And I find that the more I outline and the more that I plan things out, the more confident I feel about creating the world, the lore, the characters, and having an ending that connects everything together and that not only makes sense, but satisfying to write and hopefully satisfying for people to read. And for once, I'm not just writing for myself anymore. I'm writing for everybody that's a fan of the genres that I'm getting into or the topic that I'm getting into. I think about them, my imaginary perfect readers, the people who are going to buy my books or even glance at it and give it a try, read like a few sentences or maybe the first chapter. This is for them. It's for me because I'm writing about something that I'm passionate about, but it's also for them. I want to show you this book, this gorgeous book from the 70s. Pretty popular. It's got a movie and a series. This lady, Anne Rice, rest in peace, really inspired me to write and how I write and what I write about. I mostly write about vampires. Love vampires. This channel used to be called The Vampire Otaku. There's just something beautiful and dreadful about eternity. They make it romantic, and not all vampires are like this. Some vampires are monstrous, some are funny, some are harmless, some are really evil. There's a huge spectrum of what the vampire can be, and there's a lot of different cultures that also depict what the vampire could be. And I just have so much wiggle room to just make it my own. Like, I'm very inspired by Anne Rice, but it's my own entity. It's my own ideas, my own story, and it feels really good. So I've been working on this story for a few years. I lost a lot of it. Maybe my hard drive got corrupted. Something happened, but I was typing it, just disappeared. And that really depressed me and just kind of made me quit for a while. I won't say quit, but it definitely made me stop. And I just really didn't have any enthusiasm towards the story anymore. I tried to write other stories, but I wasn't feeling those either. I came back to the story with a much better beginning, much better array of characters, and better lore. Happy that I lost what I wrote before because the story is so much stronger now. I'm very excited about it. And I learned a different way of writing. I learned that planning everything out, making a solid outline, outlining my characters too, like what they look like, the things that they hate, the things that they love, the things that make them uniquely them, their voices. Just jotting that down on a sheet of paper. And I've also learned about myself, and this applies to all of you watching too. I am the type of writer that I like to do my outline and my first draft on paper. I just write it all down on a loose leaf sheet of paper, or in a notebook rather. And that has been helping me a lot. It quells my anxiety of losing my work. I could still easily lose my work. It could get damaged. It could literally get lost, but it won't get lost because of a corrupted file. And I just have a strange way of writing, but I'm glad that I'm finding my way of writing. I used to just write how other people write and just try to make it work for me. But now I'm just using my imagination. I'm just figuring out what works for me. How do I romanticize my process? I go to the cafe, I grab a hot chocolate if it's cold, grab like a muffin or something, and I look out the window, and I only allow myself to look out the window and grab my phone for research to get on Google. Nothing else is allowed. And after a while, I'm just like, all right, I've seen everything I need to see outside the window. Let's get cracking, let's write. And I just start writing and writing. And I have this book, this really cool book. This book has helped me out a lot whenever I feel like I'm not necessarily getting my point across. I'm not fully comprehending the severity or the emotion of the scene or what my character is feeling. I know my character is upset. There's different levels to anger, to rage, to disappointment. They all dance on the same dance floor, but they have different styles of dancing, and they're all in different parts of the room. One of them is in the back in the corner, the other one's in the middle, having everybody watch them. Another is dancing with someone else. They're just different entities within each other, but they're similar. They're all on the same dance floor. And this book gives you details on not just what a word means, but how to show body language, what actions might show that emotion, and what a prolonged exposure to that emotion or a prolonged just having that emotion for an elongated amount of time, how that affects your character. Very important. It has like little subtle hints, like somebody's impatient, they'll tap their finger, they'll make their leg bounce, just things like that, little subtleties that really bring out the different dimensions in your storytelling. It's beautiful. I heard about this book from another YouTuber. I forgot the name of their channel, but I got a lot of really good information from that channel. Let me see. Oh, let's get back to the topic of why you should write right now. Because I've been talking about myself. Let's talk about you. You should write right now because not only there is a plethora of information available at your fingertips, very easy to find, but it's therapeutic and it's a good way to use your creativity without needing other people. You can do this all by yourself. Sometimes we have creativity and we might need other people, or it might cost a lot of money. If you write in a notebook by hand, or if you get a cheap laptop, it doesn't have to cost that much. It can cost a decent amount. I want to romanticize my writing experience, so I bought a mechanical keyboard, and I'm gonna start making payments on Microsoft Word once I get my third draft done. But another reason why I'm like all over the place, another reason why you should write, because it stimulates the brain. It's really good for your mind. It's really good for your vocabulary, your imagination, and just your perception on the world around you. You get to take your ideas, your thoughts, and your feelings and put them onto characters and have them interact with each other. It's really cool. And their premise, you can talk about whatever. Werewolves, elves, vampires, cars, war, the hood, the ghetto, politics, makeup, literally anything that you could think of can be used in a story or can be a story. Having that amount of freedom and having that amount of creativity, usable creativity, is really cool. I love that. And you don't have to write novels. I'm working on a novel right now, but I'm also I was inspired by this little book. I bought it from Half Price Books. I think it was like $2. It's 100 vampire short stories. Not in the best condition, a little yellow, but it's readable and it's really cool. I haven't read a lot of it, but I've gotten so many ideas from reading those short stories, and I didn't realize how short a story could be. Anywhere from 1,000 words to 10,000 words, I believe. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. That's much shorter than your average $60,000-$70,000, not dollar, your average 60,000-70,000 word full-length novel. It's really interesting how differently you can approach those two, and I'm doing both right now. I'm actually planning on working on my own vampire short story anthology, but I'm working on my first short story, and that's gonna help me finish something. Never finish a story. And like I finished an idea, I finished like a first draft, and I threw it away. I hated it. Like I had to change my ending, and it didn't fit the way that I wanted it to. I didn't feel good writing it, so I felt like people wouldn't feel good reading it. And sometimes you just gotta let it cook. You gotta let it sit. You gotta let it simmer. And I've learned so much about writing within the past, 6 months. You don't have to be perfect with your first draft. It's actually absurd to even attempt to make a perfect first draft. It's just not a great idea. You're gonna stifle your creativity, slow your process down so much, and you're probably not going to be perfect. It's just not going to work. That's why we make a rough draft, second draft, third draft. You just keep doing more and more editing as you go. The first draft, just get your idea out, just throw it out, word vomit. Second draft, you clean things up, coherent ideas. If you're a person that's heavy on adjectives, maybe lighten that up a little bit. If you're just telling all the scenes, this person's sad, this person's angry, this person's this, and you're not showing any evidence, or you're not using any other tools to show what the characters are feeling, how they're feeling, and what they're doing, you work on that in the second or third draft. And then pretty soon the story will be what you want. It's never going to be perfect, but it's you. It's exactly what you want. After that, you work on your spelling, your punctuation, just making sure all the grammar and stuff is good. And then depending on what, your process is, you might want to get traditionally published like me, or you might want to self-publish. And you just self-edit everything. You don't go to a professional editor. Those are things that are, further down the line. I just want to see more people write. People have really cool ideas, like for horror, for stories of sci-fi, fantasy. People just have really interesting ideas, and these ideas could make really fun stories to read and to enjoy and to put more stuff on our shelves. Now, if you're trying to get a paycheck, this career really isn't the best thing to get rich. You could get rich, it's a possibility, but a lot of people who have that as their driving force are really disappointed. You want the driving force to be unleashing your creativity to the world and perfecting the craft. You want to become a better storyteller, and you want to keep your readers turning those pages and just loving your work. And you want to enjoy what you're doing. There's some people that don't enjoy what they do, and they do beautiful things, but it doesn't really make sense to get into such a creative endeavor and to not enjoy it. So I'd advise you to try to find a way to enjoy this particular career path. Do it for the passion. Don't think about the money. We want to get paid while doing things, and it definitely helps us to continue doing things. It's not gonna be your best bet to have it as your main driving force. Be ready to get rejected. I've been talking to a lot of friends about it. I'm really excited about getting my short stories and whatever else I decide to write rejected. When I get rejected, it could mean many things. It could mean I need to work on my dialogue. I need to work on my narration, or the story was good, but it just wasn't a good fit. Or, it could be there's something missing. Like maybe add more to it, more trauma to the characters, more detail to the characters, more detail to the world, maybe less detail. There's something that's stopping it from getting accepted. So I get to go back to the drawing board, and I get to create a better story, and that in turn makes me a better writer. I do this for the craft. I want to continue to get better. Do I want to get published? Absolutely. Do I want to get paid? Yes. But my first and foremost reason is simply to be better. I want to become a better person and to also become a better storyteller and to create the best characters that I can and just really channel all of my creativity, all my ideas, and put it down on paper. I do art. You might have seen a few of my videos where I draw, but I have purposely chose the novel format because I want to paint pictures with my words. I don't really want to create any art. At some point, I want to like make art for like every chapter. Like every chapter has like some artwork in front of it. I decided to scrap that plan because though it's original, I think, and pretty cool, I think it would take away from what the reader is creating in their mind because I'm giving them something. Like, this is what the character looks like. This is what the world looks like. And I want to leave that to the reader. I straddle the fine line of not giving too much detail to what my characters look like and to poetically spilling out the roughness of their voice, the blotches on their skin, their strong structure, their wide chest, the ripples in their muscles, whatever the case may be, whatever language I'm using to describe. I try to keep it in the middle. I don't want to tell you everything. I kind of want you to create your own vision with how I make the character speak, their dialogue, the way that I narrate. I just want to paint the picture, but then let you finish the picture. Like, I don't want to paint everything. I'll let you add some colors that you think would work. And this is kind of like how my writing style is becoming. And it, honestly, the cool thing, I'll leave with this because this video is getting a little bit longer. You can just be a writer. You don't have to be published. You don't have to finish your work. As soon as you start looking at videos like mine and other people, and you start trying to figure out what it takes to become better at the craft of writing. And reading too, I feel like reading is really important. You don't have to read everything. You don't have to read every day. But if you're gonna do science fiction, it's very important for you to check out a few science fiction books just to have an idea of what you're getting into. But yeah, you're reading and you're writing, and you also don't have to write every day. That's the cool thing about being a writer. Nothing is really concrete. You can kind of do what you want, but it's best to learn the rules before you break the rules, because if you know the rules, you'll break them in a way that you want them to be broken, instead of accidentally breaking rules that you didn't need to break and that doesn't feel natural or cohesive. So yeah, become a writer because it's free. It's good for your mental health and your mental stability and strength. But also become a writer because you probably have really good ideas and the world wants to see that. The world wants to check out the makeup of your mind and the things that you feel. Like, your feelings matter, your ideas matter. So get them out there. Until next time, peace. It's a different video. Hope you enjoyed the format. Hope you enjoyed the topic. And maybe I'll make more in the future. I just had this heavy on my heart. I really wanted to talk about writing. We're going to get back to manga and anime figures for sure. But this one, I really wanted to talk about today. Until next time.